Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Gray, the LymeBoss, and thank you for joining us on the LymeBoss podcast. Today's special guest is Robert Floyd from Paleo MD, and he's going to be talking to us about detoxing from the standard American diet, like one of my all-time favorite topics, because not a whole lot of people like to talk about diet because it's not super sexy. It's not a quick fix, right? It's a lifestyle change, mindset change. We're going to get into all of that in this time. Hi there. Again, I'm Heather Gray, LymeBoss. I work with frustrated professionals who've tried everything to address their embarrassing digestive issues, horrible brain fog, and their chronic widespread pain. Could it be undiagnosed Lyme? For me, it was, and I'm here to get to the root cause of those issues so that you can get back to living an energetic, productive, joy-filled life. Mr. Robert Floyd, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. This has been great. I've been listening to what you're putting down out there for the public, and it's amazing. Thank you. I just want to celebrate you for what you're doing. Thank you so much. Helping a lot of people out there.
That's awesome. I did get hot in here all of a sudden. It's like, get around on me. Wow. Anywho, so tell us a little bit. I found that most of us that are in this alternative world got here because we have our own health story, right? There's something that kind of drove us out of traditional medical model and into the quote unquote alternative world. What was that for you?
Well, I've had quite the varied past. I went to medical school to become an orthopedic surgeon. Wasn't cool enough to get in the club. Ended up doing 2 years of trauma surgery residency down in Las Vegas, which was amazing. I learned so much. I mean, I literally had my hand in people's hearts and holes in their hearts and stab wounds and bullet wounds. And I've drilled someone's skull open. I mean, just cool, crazy stuff, right? But I, like I said, it wasn't cool enough to get in the club to ortho. I didn't want to continue general surgery, so I ended up going doing family medicine. And then after doing family medicine, I did 2 years of surgery. I did family medicine. I was also, before that, I was a ski patroller and a ski guide and an EMT. So emergency medicine just seemed to work out really well for me. And so I ended up going into emergency medicine and being a rural ER doc for many, many years. I got kind of tired of that, worked in the hospitals as well. And then I discovered functional medicine. And from then on, I was like, this is where I have to go. This is aligns with every fiber in my soul. So,
absolutely. Like it definitely is a call, right? Like I got into functional medicine. I wasn't even in the medical industry. I was a hairstylist when I heard, the founder FDN speaking on a podcast, right? Talking about how you have to balance, get the gut function working and balance the hormones and make sure the detox pathways are open, and like all this stuff intuitively made sense. It was like, finally, thank God, someone's just not talking about another pill for an ill or cutting something out. Like we're actually talking about root causes of things. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, and one of the things I realized, I don't want to, pit Western medicine against functional medicine or Eastern medicine. We need it all,
Absolutely.
And being in integrative medicine, I use a lot of different things. But I will say with 100% belief that unfortunately Western medicine, the medical paradigm we have now, to me, it seems like it's doing more harm than good because it's been hijacked by big pharma.
Absolutely.
Like
Especially
said,
in the chronic illness world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You get banged up in a car accident though, Western med has got your back. That is the way to go. That is nothing else can touch that, hands down. But as far as the chronic sickness and even the wellness model goes.
Yeah, exactly. If I get hit by a bus, please take me to the nearest ER. I need surgery for something. Urgent surgery, please take me to a surgeon. Yes. But like you said, the whole chronic medicine model, unfortunately, the acute care model, which is awesome, it really applies. Like, let's say you have pneumonia. I give you antibiotics for a course of 10, 14 days, the pneumonia goes away. Unfortunately, Big Pharma has hijacked chronic medical, chronic care with the acute care model and basically saying, oh, you have high blood pressure, take these pills for the rest of your life, it'll go away. Well, it doesn't go away. All it does is get masked. And, like you said, a pill for every ill, it just doesn't work for me. And so I decided to make a huge switch. And I basically have quit most of Western medicine. I'm still medical director for a couple different places. I still have a little telemedicine office that I do. But I realized that this is how I'm going to make a big difference and help more people through my Paleo MD program. And I love it.
So awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to have you on the functional team. Woohoo.
Yay.
So tell us a little bit about detoxing from the standard American diet. Like I said, this is so exciting to me. Let's jump in.
Well, I can tell you first and foremost that the standard American diet is poisoning us. Period. Hands down, no doubt about it. If you eat the standard American diet, you're shortening your lifespan. You are.
What's the acronym for standard American diet?
SAD diet, and it is very, very sad. And it's kind of funny because, you say that the SAD diet, and those in the know automatically know exactly what you're talking about. And so, it's really sad because a lot of people, it's not really their fault. Again, I'm not laying blame on anyone. And a lot of people don't understand just how bad the standard American diet is. It's, caloric dense, nutritional deficit, nutrient lacking. It's addictive. It's literally full of poisons. I mean, high fructose corn syrup can be considered a poison. Seed oils can be considered a poison. Half of the, quote, natural flavors can be considered poisons. Artificial sweeteners are considered poisons. One of the things that in my program, I talk about, artificial sweeteners, non-caloric sweeteners. A lot of people don't know that NutraSweet was discovered when they were trying to make a new pesticide. Oh. I don't know how they tasted it. I mean, who's like, oh, let's make a pesticide. Let's taste it. And they discovered that it was very, very sweet. And so one of the reasons why artificial sweeteners are thought to be so bad for you is because they harm your microbiome. And, thank God we've done a lot of research on the microbiome over the last, 20, 30 years. And again, this starts with functional medicine. The Western medicine doctors, standard GI doctors and, other docs, they don't even really consider the microbiome anymore. And, thank God for, Jeffrey Bland and the Institute for Functional Medicine and these other doctors looking at the bugs. So I think that's just one part of the standard American diet that is harming you. And because, the microbiome everybody's heard the term symbiotic, right? It's like the sucker fish on the shark, right? The sucker fish gets to eat whatever's on the shark gets clean. That's a symbiotic relationship. Well, the microbiome for us it's called a commensal relationship, meaning we benefit, but the bugs really don't. They're just helping us. And so I love the microbiome. I've just been enamored with it and love learning about it. So, anyway, that's just one aspect of the standard American diet.
Absolutely. When you said that, a lot of times it's not your fault. I mean, if you go back and think about it, I was a child who was raised in front of the TV, and I was brought up with, this is a part of a balanced breakfast, bullshit. That's diabetes in the making is what that was. Right. I mean,
totally.
And fruit and fruit juice and toast. Like that was crap. And that's what we got set up with. Like, it still never ceases to amaze me when I meet a new client. They're like, well, I eat healthy. And I'm like,
yes.
Tell me what you eat. And then they tell me and I go, oh, no, honey, sorry. I mean, yeah, that's what you were brainwashed to think was healthy. Like oatmeal is good for your heart. Oatmeal is horrible for your microbiome and your gut. It's too big of a protein to break down. Yeah, anywho. So yeah, keep going, keep talking. So microbiome, yeah.
Yeah, the microbiome, just one part of our overall health picture. Another thing that I've really been into recently is reading and studying about seed oils. And I had no idea they were so toxic to humans until, a couple of years ago. I'm not sure how familiar you are and how much reading you've done on the seed oils, but yeah, it's for most people out there, they don't even know what seed oils are. Okay. So what's happened is that the food industry has disguised seed oils, which are under the term vegetable oils. So everybody thinks, hey, vegetables, they're good for me, right? Well, seed oil, which comes from sunflower seeds, safflower seeds, canola oil, which is the rapeseed oil, and there's just like 7 or 8 different types of seed oils, soybean oil, corn oil, that they are all super, super high in omega-6s. And also they are not digestible by our mitochondria like good fatty acids are. And one of the reasons is that these seed oils, sorry about that, I'm still working today. These seed oils, the way that they process them is that they heat them up really, really high. And everybody knows when you heat fat, it oxidizes it, right? And it actually turns them into trans fats. And didn't we learn a long time ago that trans fats are really bad for us?
That was
Well,
one of the few things they got right.
one of the few, but you know what's funny? On my research, they were talking about how bad trans fats were in the 1950s.
Oh, wow.
And when did we get rid of trans fats? 2015, something like that?
I thought it was closer in the 90s, 2000s, but
Okay, it might have been. It just time flies as you get older like me. So, but anyway, so a little known fact that people know about seed oils is that cottonseed oil used to be used as a heating and lighting oil in our homes before they figured out how to make kerosene from petroleum products, right? So cottonseed oil, you would put it in your lamp and you'd walk around your house with burning cottonseed oil in a wick. When they started using petroleum products for heating and lighting, cottonseed oil was deemed a toxic waste. And Procter and Gamble, lo and behold, 2 very incredibly smart men. Unfortunately, they've done a lot of damage in the world. But Procter and Gamble figured out that, okay, let's take all this toxic seed oil, this cottonseed oil, and we'll use it because it's a byproduct. We don't want to let it go to waste. So they started making soap out of it. But then they realized, hey, if we hydrogenate it, we can make it, because seed oils are liquid at room temperature. But if they hydrogenate it, however you want to say it, it gets solid at room temperature, like lard, right? Because, bacon grease gets solid at room temperature, lard gets solid at room temperature. And so what they did was they then kind of instituted, hey, we've got this new wonderful product and it's healthier than, lard and tallow and bacon grease. And everybody should all eat this. And a little known fact about that also is they donated, what in today's dollars would be millions of dollars to the American Heart Association to help them push it as a healthy alternative to animal derived products. And,
even with canola oil, like the rapeseed plant, like it is highly, highly, highly toxic.
Yeah.
Like the process that it has to go through in order to make it edible is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And then the fact, so like even freaking Whole Foods. Like I thought, I don't normally go out to eat, right? Because I don't. Most restaurants are using seed oils. I don't want to get cross-contamination from gluten. I'm celiac. But I thought, well, maybe I'll just do the hot bar at Whole Foods. That should be okay. Fucking canola oil. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. Like Whole Foods, shame on you.
Well, I mean, Whole Foods is owned by Amazon. And what is Amazon?
But it wasn't
yeah.
that way.
I know, but
their hot bar didn't really change much as far as the ingredients went.
No. And yeah, canola oil is high in erucic acid, which is absolutely terrible for us. And so let's talk about go back and how they make these seed oils. A lot of people don't know this. They heat them up, crush them up, extract the oils from them, but the oils are then oxidized and basically rancid, and they're really, really nasty, like brown muck color. So then they have to clean the oil with these detergents and bleaches, and then they have to deodorize them. And one of the way they get these oils out of these seeds is with hexane. It's just like what all these guys are doing in the cannabis industry right now. They're getting all this liquid cannabis, but they're pulling out the THC with toxic products. And then all these people are smoking, they're vaping all this toxic shit. And it's terrible. And it's like, so the seed oils are not only are they bad for your mitochondria, but you're also being exposed to toxic chemicals as well. And so like, it's funny that you bring up that Whole Foods and the canola oil, because I just saw Carnivore MD did something on Instagram with that, like yesterday or the day before. He's actually in Whole Foods.
Shut up.
Looking at the food items, and canola oil ×1, canola oil ×2, canola oil, sunflower oil. And it's just, it's really sad that it's come to this. And like, I did a podcast with Lisa Genza, who's Freedom Kitchen, and we were talking about how we've just been totally duped. And, like I was talking to her, I'm like, I don't understand how the people at the top of the pyramids in the corporate ladders, the head of, Nestle, the head of Quaker, the head of whoever, Wesson, whoever, how do they sleep at night? Because they have children and grandchildren too, right? And their children and grandchildren aren't eating some special diet free of seed oil, free of sugar, free of high fructose corn syrup. They're poisoning their own families. And so
I heard a story of something along those lines. There was an ice cream company, and I wish I could. It was Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins,
and their son and their grandson. Is it their son or their grandson?
I think it's his son.
Is woke, right?
Yep.
Woke the hell up. I mean, but they knew, and their kids weren't allowed to eat their product. You know, so but yeah, it's just mind-boggling. It's disgusting, and I'm so glad that, like I said, there's a platform like this that, people like us and the Carnivore MD, even though I'm not a ginormous, carnivore fan, that's why I love paleo. It's a little bit more balanced, right? I'm not big in the keto or the carnivore. I think they're great for therapeutic issues, right? I'm not a big fan of doing it long term, but that's a whole different story. But I just love the fact that they're getting out there, because I did watch one of him where he went into Chick-fil-A and was asking him about the oils that they use. And I was like, get them, because again, like I said, people look at me like I'm crazy, but I want to keep my brain up until the day that I die. And people are accepting dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, like it's just a part of aging. And me and you here, we're calling bullshit. Like that's actually a lot to do with the inflammation and the toxins and the crap that we're putting in our bodies. So yeah,
it's funny you say that, because I have a book coming out in September, October, and the title is "The Bullshit We're Being Fed."
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and it's gonna have a lot to do with food, but a lot of other stuff too. But we asked the whole point of this talk is detoxing from the standard American diet. The main ethos of my Paleo MD program is gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. I mean, either one of those three things can be an entire, 6-month podcast series just on one of those. But so let's talk about gluten. You said you're celiac, right? And not a lot of people are actually celiac. It's a very low incidence. But one of the things is that there is a lot of non-celiac wheat sensitivity, non-celiac gluten sensitivity, wheat infections, or I'm sorry, allergies to wheat. And, so I think that one of the reasons why I say to my clients, let's get off gluten, is it's basically, like you said, it's these diets. And what I say to my clients is diets fail, but lifestyles don't. You have to embrace a lifestyle. If you want to be healthy, it's a lifestyle choice. Absolutely. It's not like, hey, I'm going to eat well for a day or two and then I'm eat like shit. No, you have to make choices every day. But one of the things about gluten is that, why gluten? Why wheat? It's because, it leads to intestinal permeability, leaky gut.
Absolutely.
And through my learning, I've realized that, chronic inflammation is a root cause of all chronic diseases. And eating shitty American food leads to intestinal permeability, which leads to chronic inflammation. And so if you could just fix that by removing, gluten, wheat, you can heal the gut. And that's another thing that a lot of people, I'm kind of over, yelling, the sky is falling and being, Mr. Negative. What I want to do is I want to give people more hope and say, hey, there is the possibility for you to be healthy, right? And I know you're in that same boat. I've heard you talk about it, and it's a very powerful thing. So, again, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. And I'm sure you probably live somewhere along those lines, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm grain-free and corn-free as well, just because of all the Zoomers that I run, the Zoomer lab tests, and it shows the cross-reactivity. I had Hashimoto's and I was able to reverse that, not by just going gluten-free, because I've been gluten-free for decades. I had to finally go dairy free and corn free because they were cross reacting like wheat, and the thyroid tissue looks a lot like wheat. And so the whole immune system is just all jacked up and confused. And so when I would eat corn and dairy, it would think that it was wheat. And then it also thought that my thyroid was wheat. And so it would attack my thyroid. I have since then reversed my Hashimoto's, just by going off of grains, gluten, wheat. I was a big fan of Weston A. Price when I first got into it. And I tell my clients, because I am paleo first, because most of my clients aren't going to soak, aren't going to sprout, aren't going to ferment, aren't going to do raw dairy, right? The way that really it was meant to be consumed. Once I get them healed to a point, then I tell them, okay, if you want to add some of this stuff back in your diet, you need to traditionally prepare it the way that our ancestors knew how to, so that our body could then absorb it and use it instead of just causing damage and inflammation.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you too. And also, one of the things I talk about, like, it's a lifestyle, right? And in the paleo lifestyle is a 85-15. I like to go 90-10 rule. I also institute, time restricted feeding almost every day. But with the paleo, it's
for some of you who don't know what that is, that's intermittent fasting.
Yeah. I'll explain it. I'm actually changing the meaning for my program. It's called, I use time optimized eating, because, people don't want to hear the word fasting, and people don't want to hear the word feeding.
Yeah.
Right. So with my consultant and my chief marketing officer, we came up with this. It's time optimized eating. And, we're not supposed to, as Americans, as humans, we're not supposed to be full all the time, right? And unfortunately, we are a bunch of, fat, sick, and nearly dead Americans. Something that's really scary is I read in the American College of Cardiology, a journal article from July of last summer, 93.2% of all adult Americans are metabolically unwell, meaning they have one or two or three symptoms of metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, large waist ratio, hip to waist ratio, dyslipidemia, hypertriglyceridemia, and hypertension, right? Did you know, most people don't know that, but if you get diagnosed with metabolic syndrome, which is the precursor to all these other terrible diseases, and mostly diabetes, but then Alzheimer's, heart disease, yada, yada, yada. If you get diagnosed with metabolic syndrome, that's 3 of any of those 5 conditions I just told you about, you have a 50% increased risk of mortality just by that, right? And so 93% of American adults are sick. This is why I do what I do, because I can't stand the bullshit of it anymore. And I can't stand injustice. Injustice, fucking sorry about the language. It gets me fired up.
I'm already going to put a warning on this one, because right off the bat, me and him, before camera started rolling, we started dropping F-bombs. I'm like, oh, this one's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah. Injustice makes me livid. And this is what's happening to us as Americans. The injustice being perpetrated on us, all in the name of corporate fucking greed.
Amen.
Is killing us. Literally, it's literally killing us. Look around how sick we are. And I cannot fathom. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've been an ER physician. I've been a trauma surgeon. I've been a hospital doc. I've cut people's legs off. Okay. Like I said, I had my fingers in people's hearts and blah, 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 blah. And people don't understand how sick they're going to be if they don't start making changes in their life. And it's sad.
It is so sad. What's the saddest is usually my family and my friends, right? The people closest to me who I want to help the most, who can't hear me, who think I am just some weird Pollyanna. I used to think this way 15 years ago. I used to say, goddamn hippies. They say everything's going to give you cancer. And now I'm like, holy shit, everything can give you cancer, because it's true, right? It's everything we're putting in the system right now is not suitable for human consumption, right? We haven't evolved to deal with these type of toxins and chemicals and crap. And we're showing, like I said, the lifestyle diseases. And what's sad is, like, too many people think that is normal these days, and they just accept it. They take that fucking diagnosis and they just like, doctor said this is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, there's something you can do about it.
Yeah, 1,000,000% on that, and I've actually been putting out a couple ads and a couple IG things about, I said one of the Instagram posts I put out, I said, I'll bet you $25,000 your doctor did not tell you that type 2 diabetes reversible, did they? The American College of Lifestyle Medicine just came out with a consensus statement stating that the goal of diabetes treatment should be 100% complete remission. Okay, let that sink in for a minute, people. 100% remission, not, hey, I need to do insulin for the rest of my life, or Januvia, or blah, 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 all this bullshit medicine that's making big pharma gazillions of dollars. No, 100% remission, people. And it can be done. And that's why, I've been kind of labeled as a salty doc, and because I have a really bad taste in my mouth from medicine, from Western medicine and hospital medicine. But I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that sheds hope and light.
Absolutely, 100%. You've gave me goosebumps the size of Texas right now. I knew this was going to be fun. Like, yay. And it just helps because a lot of folks, they hear me talk this way, but it helps to bring on other people as well. And they hear it from another source, right? Because repetition is how we learn. And if we hear it from more than one source, then maybe if I planted this 6 months ago and then they hear this now, and then maybe things will start to click and then people can turn around. Because quite frankly, it scares me being out in public these days with just the general public, because they are so inflamed and not right in the head. Like,
yeah,
you can see it with just the way customer service, like it's crazy how things are starting to devolve. And did you ever watch that movie, Idiocracy? Did you ever see that?
Oh God, dude, we are there.
Oh, absolutely. Right?
Welcome to Costco.
Electrolytes, it's what plants crave,
Yeah, totally. Think about it. Donald Trump as our president was just like that guy in that show. Not to be political at all, because no matter what side you're on, they all fucking suck.
Absolutely, 100%. So, yeah. No, who knew that when that movie came out and we watched it, 15 years ago, that we were actually watching a documentary, right?
Right? A futuristic documentary, a foreshadowing documentary. I want to go back to something that you talked about, like, how they've normalized being fat, sick, and nearly dead. It has become normalized to be on medication, to be sick, to have to go to the doctors, to not work, to, watch these TV commercials about medications and go, hey, I want that drug. I want that drug. I spoke with an amazing person yesterday, Dr. Joan Ifland, Iflan. She owns a program called the Addiction Recovery Center. Mm-hmm. And she wrote a 480-page textbook that she said it took her 3 years to write on food addiction. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it is, she said there's, 2,000 or some ungodly number of references. It's a very scientific book, but with a lot of science back behind it. She was talking about the mirror neurons, right? And so, like we're talking about, if everyone around you's fat, sick, nearly dead on medications, then guess what? You almost feel off if you're not with them. We as humans want to be in a tribe, right? We want a mirror. There's a great saying, you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're around 5 alcoholics, guess what? You're probably the 6th alcoholic. If you're around 5 heroin junkies, guess what? You're probably the 6th. And the same goes for if you are if you're around 5 really high level jujitsu players, you're probably going to be another high level jujitsu player. If you are around 5 millionaires, guess what? You're probably going to be the 6th millionaire. And so what's happened is, and talking to this lady yesterday blew my mind about these mirror neurons and how these giant companies know this. They spend billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars on psychology, psychiatry, psyops, marketing, propaganda, and they know that psychology, they know the neurology of our mind, how it works. And, those mirror neurons, if you are around all these people who are fat and unhealthy, please don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing on fat people. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna bring that up because
I want to say to the people listening, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone. It's
no. I don't apologize, please, because I think because that pisses me off too, because we fucking normalized it. And
I know, yeah, we have normalized it. Yeah.
Weight, and people are like, don't fat shame me. It's like, it's so much deeper than just the aesthetics, dude. It is.
I mean,
COVID showed us that. What was the comorbidity, you know, with COVID that was
The number one comorbidity was being obese,
obesity, right?
and then vitamin D deficiency.
But you couldn't bring it up. You couldn't bring
Yeah.
it up because heaven forbid you
Yep.
talk about somebody's weight,
Yeah.
because now it's fat shaming.
Again, I don't want to turn someone off, because I want them to listen and to hear what we're saying. I care about that, because when I look at people who are overweight and obese, I look at them and I feel sadness, because they don't know how sick they're going to be. They don't know that being obese is directly linked to 16 different types of cancer and maybe more. Okay.
Right.
Just by being overweight,
Right.
you are putting yourself at risk of cancer. They don't understand that, obesity leads to heart disease, liver disease, lung disease, brain disease. It screws up all your hormones. I mean, it's so bad. And like you said, we've normalized it. We have to take this back. We have to take back our health. And it's super sad. When we normalize obesity, like, I don't want to fat shame people. I want people to hold themselves to a high standard. And being overweight, like David Goggins, man, talking about like not giving a shit about saying, hey, you don't like how you look in the mirror? Fucking change it. You can change it. No, I can't change you. And I talked with the lady, Lisa Jensen from Freedom Kitchen, and she's been trying to help people, and she helps kids cook well, avoid toxic foods, avoid junk food and sugar. And she said, Rob, I've been banging my head on this wall for, 15 years now. And she's like, I'm tired of trying to convert people. I only want to work with people that want to help themselves.
Absolutely. 100%.
And we have to help people that want to help themselves. And, they're there. People are out there. But like you said, everyone's afraid to offend people. And I don't mean to be offensive. And I know I can be, because I have a big mouth. And, sometimes I just say my heart's on my sleeve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But what it really comes down to is I care about people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Like, if you can't tell that from this man's passion and my passion, like, I don't know what else. Like, it frustrates me when people think that I'm coming at this from any other place than this is what's for your best good, your greater good, right?
Yeah.
It burnt me out when I first got in practice in 2013, because I wanted it more than my clients. And I was like dragging them along, and I burnt myself out. Within 7 months, I was done with my business. I couldn't do it anymore. And so this time around, I had to really stay in my lane of, I am here to support you, but you've got to do the work.
Yeah. There's a saying, in medicine that, like, I can't care more about your health and wellness than you do. Like, you could come into the hospital for the 37th time. You've had 14 toes chopped off. Do we even have 14 toes? You've had, 8 or 9 toes chopped off. I can't care more about your wellness than you do. If you don't take the steps to be well, then it's never going to change. And, one of the big things I'm seeing, and I'm trying to get people to take agency over their life. And I'm very blessed. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I say that over and over and over. I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and I may not be, but I say that, I play that tape over and over and over again. Like we were talking earlier about words matter, how you talk to yourself. You said earlier about like, you don't always have to be gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. And I tell people, this is not dogma. This is a lifestyle. You're going to go, it might be Christmas time and you go to your friend's house and eat a piece of cake or some cookies, but have self-love and self-compassion. That goes in 2 different ways. Have self-love and self-compassion. Don't beat yourself up over it, but also hold yourself to a high standard, because we've been blessed with this beautiful body that we all have, and all human beings are beautiful people. We all have beautiful bodies. We are made perfectly in God's eyes, whatever, universe's eyes, Mother Nature's eyes. And, I don't want to go anti-religion or whatever, because religion and science can and do both exist.
Absolutely.
And so you really have to give thanks and realize that we're really, really lucky. I like to say, we only get one go round in this bag of skin, so you better fucking make it worth it.
Amen. Oh my God. And what a beautiful way. I was just getting ready to wrap this up. Like that was perfect. That was perfect. This is shameless plug time. So what are you working on, Robert? Like, what would you want to, how do people find you? What are you working on? What do you want to plug?
I love it. Shameless plug time.
Shameless plug time.
People can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. It's the Paleo MD. And my website is thepaleomd.com. I've got currently I have a 12-week lifestyle transformation program called the Ancestral Reset to help people, change their lifestyle, lose weight, reverse chronic disease, literally reverse chronic disease. I've had it happen with a lot of my clients. Get off medications and take agency over your life. My program's awesome, if I say so myself. This is a shameless plug. My program isn't like anything I've ever seen or heard. I send my clients 144 meals to their door. I send them supplements to their door. I send them fasting supplies. I get them to do time optimized eating. We have learning modules. And then every Saturday, there's a group coaching Zoom call. And so this is a 12-week program. And then there's also an optimization program that goes on afterwards. And I've had just ridiculously great success with a lot of my clients, almost every one of my clients. I could say it's like a 99% success rate with my clients. But I'm also working on a 1-month DIY program, a 3-month DIY program to make it a little bit more accessible and a little bit more varied. So like I told you before, I'm working with a consultant who's helping me really build this Paleo MD as a whole ecosphere. And, it's great. I love it. I'm going to have my own supplements coming out pretty soon. I'm going to have a book coming out. And then, like I said, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the Paleo MD.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Again, I knew we were going to have fun, and that was even more fun than I thought we could have. So I can't wait to be a guest on yours when you get yours up and going, and keep this continuing. Like, I'm just so blessed that I met you at Mindshare, and I'm just continued to be in awe with the people that I'm surrounded with right now. And so thank you so much for being one of those and saying, hey, I want to play.
Yeah. Well, thank you as well.
God bless you all and have a healthy day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Want a tasty electrolyte mix that is formulated to help anybody who's on perfect for keto, low carb, and paleo type diet? Turns out most folks need to pay just as much attention to their electrolytes as to the food that they eat. I've seen this be an issue with many across their health journey. Why do you even need electrolytes? They help balance the amount of water in your body. They help balance the pH in your system. They move nutrients into your cells and detox waste out of your cells. They make sure that your nerves, muscles, heart, and brain work to their full potential. They're our body's spark plugs. So when you have that afternoon lull, instead of reaching for a cup of coffee to get yourself some energy, why don't you reach for some delicious LMNT. They come in so many delicious flavors. We got watermelon, chocolate salt, raspberry, and my personal favorite is the chocolate caramel. Make sure that you're replenishing your electrolytes after a good sweat, after a good workout. You want to put back what you've taken out. They're really easy. Go to my site, www.TheLymeBoss.com. Go to the resource section, click on LMNT, and get your first box today. Yum! I love my LMNT.